overheard my phone that kept buzzing and got suspicious because I couldn't hide my nervousness. Marriage is difficult. It isn't all happy and fun. Let me tell my story. I loved my husband, I truly did. As kids, we were neighbors. We grew up together. He was my crush, and hey, I married my crush. We were best friends before getting together and starting a relationship. Me and my husband got in a relationship when we both were 18. After 9 years of being together, he proposed, and we got married when we were 27. I was working as an investigative journalist, and his job was accounting manager at a prestigious company. We have been married for almost 6 years now. It was all good until we both started neglecting each other because of work occupations. We hardly saw each other, always working. I swear I was going out more with colleagues than my own husband, and he didn't mind it. Or he did, but he never said anything. I still loved him, and I guess I will always love him somehow, because he has been with me forever. I want to see him grow and always progressing in his life. But let's get back to the story. At the job I was working at, as I said, I used to go out really often with colleagues. Without even knowing, I was flirting with this one good-looking guy. He was tall, with black hair and blue eyes. Forgive me, but I could get lost in those eyes. And oh, his smile. It was what made me fall for him. It was like I was a teenager and felt like I was walking in the air. It wasn't right, but I couldn't help it. The way he gave me attention, his attention to details. I used to go in the office and find little notes like, "Want to look into your eyes a little longer today? Coffee after work?" Those coffees became a routine. After work was my favorite time of the day. After a month, we went out for dinner and drinks in a classy place. He was wearing a blue suit, which matched his eyes, and oh my God, I forgot I had a husband. I want this guy, I thought to myself. Also, I was wearing a black long hot dress and red lipstick. My blonde long hair looked like magic, and I am not even exaggerating. I love my blonde hair, and this time they didn't let me down. So at the time, I refused to call it a date, but that's what it was. Oh, I forgot to tell you, he even got me flowers, red roses, my favorites. We went to this place which looked over the city. It was a summer night, one of those long nights that I would never want to finish. I was experiencing feelings I had never experienced with my husband. The dinner was amazing. The red wine was perfect. We talked a lot, looking each other in the eyes. He was 32 years old and lived alone. He was also a journalist, a good one. He told me his mother and father lived in another city. He also talked about the most traumatic episode of his life. He, or let me refer to him as Oliver, lost a brother at 29 years old. Oliver's brother died from cancer. He got lymphoma and could not make it. We found ourselves crying. To lose someone you love can be really heartbreaking. I can't even imagine losing my sister. I could not put myself in his shoes. At that moment, I wanted to hug him so hard and just let him cry in my arms. We had this strong connection. Regarding my life, I talked to him about my family, how they always supported me, but how they also used to be pushy. I used to take most of the decisions because I wanted to make them proud and happy. At some point, I forgot I had to make myself happy. I was so lost in the conversation that I told him that he reminded me of what happiness was. His blue eyes smiled, and for a moment I came back to reality and told him that I was lying to my husband about going out with him. He was not okay with lying, and he was not okay with what we were doing, but we could not help it. It was stronger than us. That same night we danced, and while dancing he kissed me. I kissed him back. Going home, I was feeling like a teenager and smiling to myself. My husband was already home. He just asked how the night with the girls was, and that's it. I wasn't sure what to do, but this man didn't deserve to be cheated and betrayed. I could not tell the truth, though. The dates with Oliver became frequent, so I continued to lie to my husband. I cheated on him. While home, the situation was not good anymore. For my husband, I felt like he was my friend, but no more passion or love. How could I say this? I would let everyone down. Once again, I put others first. On the other hand, Oliver was pushing me to talk to my husband because he could not be the third person anymore. He wanted us to go outside freely and show our love to the world. And I was afraid. I was never a brave person. But this time I had to be. I had to put myself first, even though it meant hurting other people's feelings, even though I found it hard. Dates with Oliver continued to go on. At work, we were still together. As investigative journalists, we used to go out for work together also. We never lost a chance to be together, while my husband was also working hard. Our night together became just hi and good night. We had become strangers sharing the same house, yet we used to talk about how our day was, about work, about everything. We used to go to family events together. I can remember when it was my mother's birthday. We were at my parents' house. I do not know how, but my mom understood something was wrong, maybe mother's instinct. But she asked me if everything between us was okay. She said we were very distant and not like before. If anyone is wondering how we were before, I will tell you. We spent most of the time together. Hey, we grew up together. We knew every part of each other, and we never lost a chance to take adventures together. We both like mountains more than beaches, but we both loved the sunset or sunrise in the sea. We used to wake up at 5 a.m. just to go near the sea and watch the sunrise. We climbed mountains, slept outside, watched the stars, and danced in the rain. He was my person. He was my go-to person in every situation. This is all I was thinking while talking to my mother, and I turned my eyes to my husband. He smiled at me and came near us. I was thinking how easy, just a look, and he would come to me right away. "What are you two beautiful ladies talking about?" he said and smiled. "Nothing," I replied. "Just telling my mom how amazing you are." He smiled and kissed my cheek, and I was surprised how little it took for us to connect again. At that moment, I felt so confused I didn't know what I felt about Oliver, about my husband. Was Oliver just the support I needed when my marriage was going through a difficult period? Did I love him? Did I love my husband? Oh my God, guys. I don't know how to tell you how confusing everything was, but that night I decided to stop thinking and just enjoy the moment with my family and my husband. It was a great night. It warmed my heart to see my family together and happy celebrating Mom's birthday. After dinner, we took our car and drove back home. I opened the window and felt the summer breeze, while the music was loud and I loved it. It was playing our song, "Because You Loved Me" by Celine Dion. He held my hand and we both started singing. What a night. When we got home, we felt no more strangers. It was the most passionate night in such a long time. As soon as we got in, he took me in his arms and whispered, "I missed you, baby." He kissed every inch of my body, and at that moment I knew there was no one like him on this earth for me. He took me to our bedroom and we made love like no other time. The passion was magical. I get butterflies even remembering that night. And I knew, guys, it was not only about sex, it was about love. Love made the sex amazing. I had forgotten how it felt like to be with him, and for sure it was not only his fault. We let the monotony take us over, we put our jobs first, and then tried to find an escape from the situation. The day after was Saturday, so we did not have to work. I woke up and went downstairs. Guess what I saw? My husband was cooking breakfast for both of us. I stopped for a moment and enjoyed the view. I could not be happy, though. Oliver existed. We were having an affair. Stupid me. For not trying to fix the things but finding an escape from reality. As marriage was so easy. On the first test, I failed. At that moment, I was telling myself, "Hey, welcome back to reality." My husband took me out of my thoughts, telling me he cooked breakfast for us and had planned a great day ahead. We were back to our adventures. At that moment, I decided not to think about what I was going to do with Oliver, or how I would fix the situation, how I would tell my husband the truth, because if I did, I knew I was going to lose him. It was all messy. Before I started eating, I checked my phone and found hundreds of texts and missed calls from Oliver. "Hey, how are you? I missed you. Can we talk? Can you escape your husband tomorrow? I need to see you. I need to be with you, please. Why don't you answer?" And so on. I was in panic. I turned my phone off and got back to my husband. We ate breakfast together and had our morning coffee. Strange how little it took for us to be the same. We were all the same all along, but now I was so close to losing him and also hurting someone else's feelings. I had no right to do so. I was so surprised by the person I had become. What was I supposed to do? Well, first off, I'll enjoy the day ahead. We were going on a road trip in a mountain near us and spent the weekend there. We both loved nature. After this weekend, I needed to tell the truth to him, and I needed to see Oliver. see how I would feel, and be honest with him too. After eating breakfast, we prepared our bags and hit the road. Like in our old times, he was responsible for driving and getting us to our destination safely, and I was responsible for the music we would listen to. I loved road trips, and on that moment even more because I have missed traveling with him. While driving, he started talking about how work has been taking us to different paths. Each of us has built our own career, and it has been difficult to keep things the same. But he told me even though we were going through difficult times, he never stopped loving me. There is nothing in this world I would not do for you. Just please help me. Help us to put our small family before everything, even our career. Because I love you, and I never want to lose you. That would mean losing myself. Those words touched my heart deeply, and without even knowing, I was crying and trying to spell out the words, I love you. Guys, we haven't said those words in a long time. What made me think he did not love me anymore? Have you ever heard about conversations that are done on a long drive? I was fully enjoying this road trip with him. He made everything better once again, with his words and his kindness. But guys, little did he know that his lovely wife cheated on him with her colleague, that the nights I told him I was out with my friends, I was actually with my lover, that I gave myself to him in a complete way. It was very difficult for me to look this guy in the eyes while singing, driving, and holding my hand because I betrayed his trust, and I was about to break his heart. While on a road, he got the chance to prove that us should and would come before every other thing. This happened when he got a phone call from work. They asked him to go in because there was an urgency and they needed him. But guess what? He refused and told them that he was on vacation with his wife. While he was on the phone, I was wondering, why didn't we do this before? Why didn't we talk to each other to make things work? I kept blaming myself for everything I was going through because, hey guys, he was there all along, but I have chosen to watch some days Elsa's eyes instead of my husband's. I felt so bad and disgusted with myself, and I know you all may be thinking of what a horrible person I am. You are right. The place we were going was 2 hours away, but we didn't get bored from the road, as time flew while talking about everything. We remembered the old times when we got in a relationship and laughed so hard. As I told you all before, we grew up together and went to the same school. Before being in a relationship, we were best friends, but we knew at that time that we felt something more about each other, but we both were afraid to admit it. We used to go to school together, and one day I found him on the road holding a red rose in his hand. He was so shy, and the words came out of his mouth without any order, guys that were so funny and so romantic at the same time. I can't remember what he exactly said. The only thing I remember is that he came near me and gave me a kiss on my lips. A short one. I used to call it the stolen kiss. He never asked me to be his girlfriend, but I knew I was. He just kept doing romantic things all along. Like in the movies, he climbed into my window at night just to stay with me and let me tell you about our first night. I mean the night when we first made love, because it happened exactly one of those nights when he climbed into my room, which was on the second floor. Well, we were staying together and watching a movie. The movie was a little with hot scenes, but not excessive. However, that made both of us feel shy because we were young. We were 18. When the movie ended, we started kissing, a thing that we did every day. But this time the passion was there, bigger than ever. We felt it in our heart. We wanted it to happen, and yes, it happened. I'm sure all of you want to know how it felt and how it was. I have heard about the first time being a little painful, and it was a little, but just a little. Then I enjoyed having him mine so much. After that night, he would climb and get in through that window every other night, and I am not shy to admit that I loved making love with him. The pleasure cannot be described. He took me to the sky and then back in. It was amazing. I am sure you are now all thinking what a horrible person I am, but the situation came that way. For sure, I made the greatest mistake of my life, but my husband had his faults too. Don't you think he should have communicated to me instead of just building the great career he has now? I always wanted him to succeed in life, but I wanted to be part of his success, and along the way, he forgot I was there too. I know it does not justify what I did. I can remember some days he would be gone almost all night because of work, and other nights when he came home and got locked in his studio to work again. I was left alone and I needed a refugee. Of course, I'm not proud of what I did, but hey, I am a human being. I got feelings. I needed support and to be seen, but he didn't see me nor my begging to be seen or to be loved. Because I did beg him for love when this situation was created, More than a year into our marriage, I used to beg him to stay with me, watch a movie together, or go out for a drink. But he was always busy, always asking for more time. Isn't it begging for love? Well, let me tell you something. No woman deserves to beg someone for love. What I did was run into someone else's arms because that someone made me feel seen, made me feel loved and important. Those kinds of things my husband forgot about. Now he wanted things to be as before, and he was finding time for me and for us. But little did he know that was a little too late. I regret cheating on him and not being honest, but I want everyone to see that I am not the black sheep of the story. I have my faults, of course, but I am just a woman. I am not proud of what I did, but I won't deny the emotions that Oliver made me feel. For sure you must be thinking, really again, Oliver? Guy. I don't know if what I felt for Oliver was love or not, but he supported me in everything without even asking for anything in return. I was succeeding in my job because of his support and because he made me feel I was enough and worth it. Again, I am not proud of my decision. I did not only cheat on him or have a one-night stand, but I created a relationship with someone. I also thought I was in love with that someone. I now think I need therapy. I know you may be laughing at this last sentence, but I am serious. We arrived at our destination at 11 o'clock and got to our room, which was really amazing. With a breathtaking view in front of a lake between the mountains and a big pool, I could not wait to get in. But my husband instead could not wait to touch me and make love with me. Actually, I have felt the sexual tension all along the road. Now it exploded. He started kissing me passionately in every part of my body. I wanted him so badly too, but I was disgusted with myself. However, I let myself go with the flow, and I enjoyed that moment so much. After this special moment, we decided to go to the pool. I told him to go before, and I would reach him in a moment. You can guess why I needed a moment alone. I wanted to call Oliver because I have been getting so many messages from him since last night. I called Oliver. He was worried, and he immediately started asking questions like, "Where are you? While I am here waiting for you, you went on a vacation with your husband? You were supposed to talk to him about divorce and us, not about vacations?" He was right in everything he asked. I just told him things got a turn and I needed to go with him. And also I asked him politely not to call me or message me until Monday. I would meet him at work. Oliver got frustrated and jealous. He was right to feel that way. I had promised him I would talk to my husband about us, and I would divorce him to be with Oliver. However, I ended the call and went to meet my husband at the pool. No matter how amazing the place was, no matter how my husband was making me feel loved, my mind was a mess. I couldn't wait for this situation to be over. I could not enjoy this weekend to the fullest, since I was not being honest to my husband. I also knew that when I would tell him the truth, our marriage would end. And honestly, I really just wanted to be done with all those things and be okay with myself. But I still lacked the courage. My husband was swimming in the pool and I joined him with no words. He noticed I was worried and asked me if something happened. I told him no, nothing has happened. I was okay, but I just had a call from work about a situation there because some of my colleagues went to work today. He asked me to forget about work and just feel nature and him. I wanted to do that, but it wasn't that easy. I was trying to, though. Swimming helped me calm down and forget a little about everything that was happening in my life. The weekend went by so fast. I have to admit we had a really good time together, made a lot of love, and ate a lot of good food. Sunday afternoon was the time to go back to our reality, and time to see if my husband would be the same or would go back to his old self and forget about my existence again. It was also time to go to work, meet Oliver, and work, because there were also so many things to investigate. Our society had problems, many of them. The way back was calm because both of us were tired. We barely talked, but he held my hand almost all the way back home, and I could notice how he looked at me when I was not watching. There was love in those eyes, the love I was sure I was about to lose, but no matter what I wanted to get out of this, I wanted to be honest with him and with Oliver. But most of all, I wanted to be honest with me. We went back home, and I don't know why, but I was feeling anxious about tomorrow at work and about how my husband would behave when he got back to work. Actually, it didn't really matter anymore, because things between us were going to end soon. Something else surprised me that night. Life is so unpredictable, guys. While me and my husband were eating dinner together, he asked me if we could talk about something very serious. Hundreds of things came to my mind, but I never guessed he would ask me to have a baby. I love kids, and I would love to have a baby with him, but I was sure he would change his mind after he discovers the truth. I told him I wanted a baby so badly, but I asked him to think a little more about it because having a baby was no joke. He promised he would, but however he said he was sure he wanted our family to grow and wanted to see the little babies walking around filling the house with joy and happiness. My husband could imagine the baby. He wanted a baby girl that looked like me. While talking, his eyes were shining. To be honest, I wanted to have a baby, but now in this situation, things were not easy anymore. We ended that night this way. We again made love and went to sleep hugging each other tightly. The next day, he was still the same kind and caring. He had again prepared breakfast, since I am the one that finds it very hard to get up in the morning. So, while I was getting ready, he prepared everything, and we had breakfast together and our morning coffee, and we went to work. When I got to work, Oliver was waiting for me at the entrance. I wasn't surprised. He seemed angry, actually very angry. He headed towards once he saw me. He didn't care we were in public. He just started screaming to me about what I was thinking and what games I was playing. I tried to calm him down so we could talk in another place, a private one. So we went to his office. I told him that I needed to think about what we were doing, and the situation between me and my husband got a small turn because our families, this wasn't true, but anyways, I had to say something. He asked me if I was going to continue this false marriage, and I told him that for the moment, yes. Again, I was not being honest to Oliver. He came near me and suddenly he hugged me. His heart was beating so fast and I felt so bad. He loved me. I tried to escape his hug, and I asked him for some time to think about what I needed. I looked him straight into his blue eyes, and I could see how his heart was breaking, but I could not change anything about it. I had to take control of my life and be honest, starting with myself. He said he would tell me everything to my husband, and I was no one to play those kinds of games with people. Meanwhile, he went out and let me in his office, wondering how I could solve the situation. My husband was working, and I was feeling so afraid that Oliver could go to his workplace and tell him everything. I was so anxious and I could not concentrate on work, so I called my husband to ask where he was, because I wanted to meet him. I told him I was not feeling very well and I needed to see him. He asked me if something at work had happened, and I lied, and I said yes. I told him I was having some problems with my boss at work, so I needed some time with him, because he was the only one who could calm the storm in my soul. So yeah, I went to his workplace, and we had a coffee near there. He hugged me tightly and asked what was happening, and again I was constricted to lie. I told him my boss wanted me to work on Saturdays, and I didn't want our jobs to get in the middle of us anymore. He told me he was so proud of me, and guys, I felt so ashamed of myself, and so sorry. I wish he could really feel proud of me, and I wish I had not done those things that I did. But life takes those dark paths sometimes, and the end of my path for sure would not be a beautiful one. I hugged him back so tightly, and I told him I loved him no matter what, which was true because I really loved him. I still do, but I will never have him back, and I have to accept it and go on. His job was going great, and I didn't doubt it because he was an excellent person and very capable of what he did. We stayed a little more, but I could not stay there forever and prevent my husband from talking to Oliver, nor could I change his phone number, which I was sure that Oliver could easily find. So I decided to go home and prepare a romantic dinner for my husband. You know, during those days we were having sex every night, and each night was more special than the night before, because we were more passionate than before, and I will never forget those nights, guys. That night was going to be a special one. I prepared a beautiful table with roses and candles on it. When he came home, I was so surprised and looked so happy. I was happy I could make him smile, but I knew I was going to be the one who would take his smile away. However, I was still hoping he would not find out about me and Oliver. Even if I was conscious, I had to tell him the truth and just wait for his reaction because this thing had gone way too far. Let me come back and tell you a little more about our romantic night so you can all see how much love we had and how I did not appreciate it enough to be mature and solve the problems between us. We had dinner, and after that I got him by his hands and started kissing him. He grabbed me in his arms and took me to our bedroom, which was also full of small red candles and rose petals. He was really surprised and happy. We made love under the candlelight, and let me tell you that it was a night to remember. When I woke up in the morning, I could not help but think about Oliver, and if he was going to tell anything to my husband. I got up and got ready for work. Actually, I could not wait to speak to Oliver and convince him not to talk to my husband. My husband was downstairs waiting for me with our breakfast ready. He had made a habit out of it, but I would enjoy those mornings so much. However, I could not wait to get to work. When I went to work, I went to Oliver's office, and I asked him if we could talk. He said we had nothing to talk about, but he would give me 5 days to tell my husband the truth. If not, he would tell him in my place, and after that, he asked me to leave his office. Guys, I had never seen Oliver this serious. He didn't even look me in the eyes, but continued working while saying those words to me. I had no choice but to go out and return to my office. Still, I could not work thinking and thinking to find a choice. Nothing came into my mind. I had come to an end, and the only option that I had was to tell my husband the truth and accept the truth, no matter how much it would hurt. While I was working, I got a message from my husband. "I want to take my beautiful wife out on a date tonight, can I?" My response was, "Your beautiful wife would be honored to." I wanted to enjoy this last date, and tomorrow I would tell him, so we went out on a dinner date. He took me to a small but very romantic restaurant. The food was amazing, and from the window I could see the full moon, which was amazing. I have not told you guys, but I am a very sunsets, sunrises, and moon person. I enjoyed the date, and I loved my husband. While we were driving back home, my husband asked for my phone just to check on his email because he was waiting for an important email and his phone had died. I was not thinking about Oliver at that moment, but as soon as the phone was in my husband's hands, a sound message rang. I was shocked when I saw the message from Oliver. "Hey, baby girl, did you tell your husband about our affair yet?" He was so shocked also, and we were about to have an accident, but did not. He stopped the car and started screaming at me to get out of his car. Not even another word, just get out of my car and never want to see your face again. I went out, and in the middle of that shock, I sat for some moments by the road to calm myself, but I could not. I was so hurt, but it was me who hurt everyone, including myself. After around 10 minutes, I walked around and found the nearest hotel around me because I could go nowhere else. Went to the hotel room and started crying. I know you may be thinking I deserved it, and I know I did, but oh, what a heartache it was. I was feeling so lost, but there was no point in searching for the fault anymore. We had come to an end. After crying all night, I took the bus and went back home. Before getting a chance to get in, I found my clothes outside and the key of my car also. I was not left with any choices, so I took everything and drove away to my parents' place. He left me with no communication, and he had the right to do so. After some days, I got the divorce papers, and that was it. I lost him. I had never thought that I could do the things that I did, but it went how it went. I can't take back time. I just need to forgive myself and keep going. If you are all wondering what happened to Oliver, did we break up? Did he disturb me? After around a week, I went back to my job to meet my boss and let him know I could not work there anymore for personal reasons. I could see Oliver around there, but I did not even look in his eyes. I didn't hate him. I hated myself for what I did, because I was the one who betrayed her husband. I am now looking for a new job and also trying to forgive myself for everything I did. I am trying to be a better person. I will admit sometimes it is hard and I am very harsh on myself, but I am taking it day by day. I am also seeing a psychologist. I appreciate everyone from my family for accepting me and forgiving me for what I have done, because they haven't raised to be a cheater. They raised a kind and honest girl who somewhere along the way got lost, but now I was found, and I would try and build a better future, a future with no lies in it. But at this moment, I am also in a divorce process, and that is not easy. I know you all will judge me, but just remember we are all human beings and no one is perfect. Sometimes life takes us to paths we never thought about and are unable to control it. Things happen, but as long as we live, nothing can't be fixed. So here I am, ready to read judging comments, but also hoping for some understanding and kindness from all of you. This is the end of my story, guys. I hope some of you will leave some kind words for me. Before judging, I have no doubts. Spread kindness, guys. The world needs it the most. Goodbye for now.